Hello and welcome to Medicmode. In this video, we're gonna see about something interesting. Before going to the topic, I would like to ask you something. How many of you are familiar with Volkswagen? Obviously, many, right? But how many of you are familiar with Rucker? Maybe not. To know what is this, watch the video. Today, we have a very sophisticated EMS. But how did this happen? I always love history. If you too, you may like this video too. EMS in countries like India is still developing. In some countries, EMS is developed. They also had many struggles to come up to this place. So let's jump into the timeline of knowing EMS. We are not in the field which has bloomed yesterday. We have a rich heritage which we should know. The first ambulance recorded in the history is at 1487 at Sage of Malaga. It was at Spain. At this time, medical care wasn't given, but this was the first ever ambulance recorded in the history. Nearly after 300 years, this was the birth of pre-hospital care. Baron Dominic Jean Larrey, physician at Napoleon Army, bought the ambulance called Larrey's Flying Ambulance. They also used triaging and transporting systems. Soon after some years, in 1865, the first civilian ambulance service was started at Cincinnati, Ohio, and this ambulance was horse-drawn carriage. They used telegram to dispatch the emergency calls. To their surprise, it became a huge success. More than 1,800 calls was received on the year. In the year 1861 to 1868, at American Civil War, Rucker wagon was used to transport the wounded from the battlefield. General T.H. Rucker designed this ambulance. He also built repair shops at Washington. This proved to be one of the most valuable innovations of the period. All the ambulances were using animals to transport before Michael Rizzi Hospital getting into the play. At 1899, Michael Rizzi Hospital brought the first automobile ambulance to the world of EMS. Even in 1900s, the evolution of EMS continued. But due to lack of manpower, the hospital-based EMS system did not survive in the World Wars. In 1926, Phoenix Fire Department bought the EMS, which is similar to the present day. Within a couple of years, Julian Stanley launched a rescue squad called Roanoke Life Saving and First Aid Crew. By 1940s, EMS was turned up to firefighters and police because of lack of medical staffs, but there was no training standard yet. After 10 years, Korea also got into the play. They introduced the first air ambulance with an helicopter in the history of EMS. Mobile intensive care units were developed and staffed by specially trained physicians. This concept quickly spread to United States, but US physicians were not in short supply. Physicians who are interested had minimal expertise outside the hospital. Physicians were then asked, can a person who is not a physician can be trained to perform advanced medical skills? Many answered, yes, this is the birth of paramedic. Year 1965 is one of the most important years in the history of EMS because a white paper called Accidental Death and Disability, the neglected disease of modern society, was released by National Academy of Science and National Research Council. They stated 10 critical points for establishing a functioning EMS system. The first one, develop collaborative strategies to identify and address community health and safety issues. 2. Align the financial incentives of EMS and other healthcare providers and payers. 3. Participate in community-based prevention efforts. 4. Pursue and develop a national EMS research agenda. 5. Pass EMS legislation each state to support innovation and integration. 6. Allocate adequate resources for medical direction. 7. Develop information systems to link EMS. 8. Determine the cost and benefits of EMS to the community. 9. Designate a single nationwide emergency telephone number. At last, 10. Ensure all calls for emergency help are automatically accompanied by location identifying information. Dr. Eugen Nagel's contribution to EMS was great. Dr. Eugen Nagel was called as the father of paramedicine. In the year 1969, he developed a true paramedic program with the firefighters from Miami. He also went one step further by bringing telemetry system in EMS. The telemetry system used to transmit ECG to physicians at Jackson Memorial Hospital to receive radio instructions from physicians regarding what measures to take at the emergency situation. In the same year, the standards for ambulance design and equipments was published. The first EMT textbook was released on the year 1971. It was named as Emergency Care and Transportation of Sick and Injured. It was published by American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons. In the following year, TV television series focused on EMS was also released, and it was called as Emergency, and people loved it, and as a result, it was very successful for 8 years run. In the year 1973, the Star of Life was designed by Leo R. Schwartz, who was the chief of EMS branch of the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. The new symbol was designed using the medical identification symbol as a guide. The Star of Life was registered as a certification mark with Commissioner of Patents and Trademarks on February 1, 1977. And we know that it is a universal symbol for EMS. In the year 1977, National Standard Curriculum for Paramedics was developed under US Department of Transportation. After the long years of struggle, the American Medical Association accepted and approved the paramedic role as an emergency health occupation. Finally, I wanted to conclude. Wars kill humans and betrayed humanity, but most of the great advancements came out of wars. Not only in EMS, but in the entire healthcare system. In World War I, there was no antibiotics. But in World War II, antibiotics was developed. In Korean Wars, they had better antibiotics. Disaster teaches us lessons. EMS in India is still a toddler. We have to grow a lot, but it takes time. Even the developed countries took a huge time to come up to this place. So, thanks for listening. If you like this video, hit the like button and share it with your friends who like this.